when my daughter was 2 years old, she was speech delayed. She had eczema, some sleeping issues, little sensory issues. And I felt something was going on. Now, we went to a pediatrician visit and they had said she should be saying over 200 words. She should be stringing sentences together. And I was like, I'm sorry, what?
Behind the practice.
Welcome back to this week's episode of Behind the Practice. Today's episode is a little bit different. I'm sitting down with Jaimee Sewell, and you might recognize her from over on the gram. And, well, before we dive in too much into where you can find her on Instagram, Jaimee, thank you so much for joining me on today's episode of Behind the Practice.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited.
Well, and before we pressed record, you started to tell me some of the stories about how you became so passionate about really spreading the message of how your daughter was cured. So while you have that cliffhanger, Jaimee, tell us your story.
So when my daughter was 2 years old, she was speech delayed. She had eczema, some sleeping issues, little sensory issues. And I felt something was going on. Now, we went to a pediatrician visit and they had said she should be saying over 200 words. She should be stringing sentences together. And I was like, I'm sorry, what? First mom, new mom. And when I had asked them, like, well, what is this? Why is this happening? They said, we just kind of don't know. Sometimes this happens with children. Sometimes they regress. And, they were throwing around some words and some potential disorders. And I left that appointment and said, what can I do? And they said, nothing. There's nothing you can do. We'll just wait and see. And so as a mother, I'm intuitive, and I really, really believe that every woman should trust their intuition, especially their mother's intuition. And I knew something was off, and I said, forget them. I went home. I did some research. I remembered, just some heavy metal detox moms and, the stories. And back then, this was 4 years ago, they were like crazy stories. So like a lot of people were like, oh yeah, those are those crazy moms, right? Well, I was like, well, are they crazy? So I did some research. I bought this zeolite. And my daughter began speaking on day 4 of using this zeolite. And on day 5, she was saying beans, green, blue, purple, just talking. A light
she had
on.
All these words inside of her.
It was like a light switch. Her personality came alive. It was like something was holding her back. And then, she passed parasites that same week from the same safe and gentle detox. And at that point, I could not believe that I've just uncovered the reason for her developmental delays and issues and struggles. And it was that easy. And it was, heavy metal toxicity.
So for people that are listening right now, and they might be saying like, wait, so what's heavy metal toxicity? Just walk us through that a little bit. And for all of our listeners, Jaimee, you're not a doctor. You're just extremely passionate and somebody that has witnessed what can happen with alternative medicines.
Yes. So metals and toxins are everywhere around us. And the problem with our children is that they do not have developed detox organs. We don't even actually know when their blood-brain barrier actually fully forms and develops. So it is porous. Their liver, their kidneys are not fully developed when they're so small. So they are just really in a more susceptible place. And so baby food. I know you guys have seen the lawsuits with the baby food, the formula, the juices of heavy metal toxicity in these baby products. And so my daughter was eating Earthland's Best. It was an organic rice cereal. I thought it was great. Organic. Well, guess what? Now it's on the news. It was on the news back then for having all this mercury and metal. We know mercury kills brain cells. I mean, it is so easy to be toxic in this world as an adult, but as a child, they're just way more susceptible and it blocks their development.
Do you feel like we're seeing more of that here in the United States versus elsewhere in the world?
We have an absolute epidemic here in the United States of toxic children. And they even moved the milestones back since this has all happened with my daughter. They took crawling off the milestones because most children are no longer developing. average, right? So they're grouping all these children together and saying what's normal now. And this should be alarming to every single parent.
So you've made it your mission,
Yes,
to spread the message. So talk to us a little bit about what made you decide to share something that was so personal, because a lot of people might have been a little resistant to that and said, well, this worked, but maybe I'm a special case, or I don't know if I really feel comfortable getting in front of the camera. So why did you decide, you know what, the whole world needs to hear about this, and I am just going to shout it from the rooftops?
and that's exactly what I did. I really didn't care. It was about the children. And here's the thing is I had no idea the amount of mothers and children who were going through this when I jumped on my TikTok and I said, listen up, mamas. Your children's delays are because of toxicity. And this is my story. And this is what I used. And this proves it. And so it absolutely blew up. I couldn't even believe how many moms. It went viral. Now, all of a sudden, I have a group with thousands and thousands of mothers, and I have a very large platform. And now I have healed and helped so many mothers. And here's what's different about me is I empower you to be your child's health advocate. Because if you're not going to do it, what happens if I would have just listened?
Yeah.
Blindly listened.
Sure.
We might not be here today. And my daughter is ahead of her peers. We use alternative medicine. I use herbs with her. I don't use antibiotics unless it was something that's like life concerning. And she is the healthiest little girl and the brightest little girl you'll ever meet in your life.
So with what we're hearing on the news, there's a lot of conflicting information. There's a lot of people that say, oh, well, we have the science behind everything that with this medicine and with this medicine, the science is there backing it up. Well, we're at a conference right now, and there's a lot of science in this realm.
Yes, there is.
Why do you think it's not getting the publicity, or I guess the positive publicity that Big Pharma does?
Well, who funds the studies? That's what we got to ask ourselves is who is funding the studies? Who is promoting? Who is making the commercials? Here's the thing is, and I've been fascinated with this, is that humans are very, very programmable, very easily programmed. And so when you can put a video or a commercial on the screen and say these things behind it and show people and get their emotions going while saying, wouldn't you love this to happen? Well, this can help you. And you have music behind it and a nice, beautiful scene. But then, like everybody knows in the pharmaceutical commercials, they're like, well, you could almost die. Your eyeballs might fall out. You know what I mean? Like you might never be able to breathe on your own again. And that's all at the end of the commercial, but people still try it. Why? Because we're easily programmable. And when you see it over and over and over and over again, we accept it as truth. And that is a problem.
Yeah. So your biggest goal is to become the alternative voice for people that might be facing this problem.
I want mothers to trust their intuition more and realize that they are their child's health caretaker first.
Yeah.
Nobody else.
So if we're talking about online influences, and I mean, I think that a lot of people struggle with what they can believe online anymore. I mean, AI has gotten out of control. You don't even know if it's a real human in a video that you're watching anymore. How do you keep the, I guess, expectations or manage your own intuition on who you want to promote, begin who you want to have a voice, like businesses that you want to have a voice for? Because I'm sure you said you have thousands of mothers, and you have the platform that maybe some of these other companies want to say, I want to get in front of those people. How do you really manage those expectations of like, this is someone I feel comfortable presenting to my audience?
You mean collaborations?
Yeah.
Yeah, I get these emails all the time, and I need to have an experience with these products. I need to know everything there is to know about them. Because my followers they mean a lot to me, and they deserve the best. And so you'll find I don't do many collaborations because I am very picky, and I usually only stick with one affiliate because And that was the heavy metal detox company.
And that's because it worked.
Yes.
It changed your life. It changed your daughter's life.
Well, I know the owner. I know that he has complete authenticity, integrity. I know I can trust the products. I can trust the ingredients. And they're a B Corp, which is really hard to get as well.
Yeah, yeah.
So
what responsibility do wellness influencers have in this space?
they have a lot more that I think they realize, because we are leading the way. We are the truth tellers. We are leading the way, and we are the ones who have suffered.
Well, and with all the misinformation out there, you know, how do you really balance, like, this is, you can trust me, you know, and I'm not just being paid by this corporation to say this.
I think that real recognizes real. That's really all it is, you know. I know that there's going to be people who are going to be skeptical, but as far as how I work, I invite you into my group. I answer all of your questions. I'm voice messaging you back and forth, telling what's going on. Tell me all the things. What are your worries? What happened? Did they regress? I'm hands-on with, you know, my followers because I love them and I care about their children. So if you're going to go to another influencer, you know, and they're selling a product, do they really care? Are they really talking to you? You'll know. Mm-hmm. You will know.
Well, and that's one of the things too, is I like to keep in mind is there's so many quote unquote experts out there. How do you really manage all of the noise? Find those people that you really connect with, that you know them to be truth seekers and truth speakers, and follow them. I mean, there's a lot of people that will have conflicting information, and then it's just way too much noise, and then you end up doing nothing.
I know, that's a big problem. Everybody's in a freeze state because of so much information. Here's what I'll say is make sure, like, are they promoting fear? Are they making you afraid? Are they making you try, you know, to purchase something urgently? Those are all red flags for me.
Yeah.
Are they tearing down other people on their platform? Those are some things that throw off some red flags for me.
So if you're starting from zero, what would you do differently today?
I would have got a lot more structure in place.
Because I'm sure that you never expected.
No, I didn't.
By sharing, hey, this is what happened for me and my family, that here you would be changing the lives of hundreds, thousands of families.
Yeah, I had no idea that was coming. For me. But yeah, a little bit more structure in place. And maybe going back in time and telling myself that I'm not responsible for every single person's healing. That would have saved me a lot of fight or flight, I think. Sleepless nights.
So if people are interested in learning more about you, hearing more of your story, and following you, maybe joining your community, what's the best way for them to get in touch with you and learn more about you?
So they can go to my Instagram, Wisdom in Motherhood. I also have a Facebook business page, Wisdom in Motherhood.
Amazing. And, you know, I follow you, find those people that you can connect with, and keep that tunnel vision on so you don't have too many detractors out there, because then you get that, you know, that freeze mentality where nothing ends up happening. So, yes. Yeah. Well, Jaimee, this has been such a great conversation. I'm so happy that you did try alternative medicine and you found something that helped not just your daughter, but I'm sure your entire family as well.
Yes.
So thank you again for joining me on Behind the Practice today.
Thank you so much.
Behind the Practice is produced by Next Step Social and Podcasting and hosted by Katie Brinkley and Sean Quintero. A special thank you to our guests today. This episode was recorded live at the Boston BioLife Functional Longevity Summit. A special thank you to the team that helped make this podcast happen.